You know, one of my favorite things about doing this channel is the conversations that happen in the comments and or on social media. Questions about soil, about timing, about what went wrong and what went right. And honestly, some of you just want to know if I've ever completely killed a plant that I had no business killing. Well, the answer is yes, many times. So today, we're going to go through your questions. The ones that kept coming up, the ones that made me think, maybe one or two that made me laugh. We're just going to sit down and talk through them together. Today, on the New England Harvester. Welcome back to the New England Harvester. Over the past month, I dug through the comments. Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, email, all of it. And I pulled out the questions I thought were worth turning into a video. Not just the most common ones, but the ones where the answers get at something most people never actually hear about. And today, I'm going to share those answers with you. So let's get into it. Our first question we have comes from Patricia via YouTube. Patricia asks, why does my cucumber plant produce tons of flowers, but almost no cucumbers? Well, Patricia, there could be a bunch of reasons, but here's where I sit with this. The flowers are kind of lying to you, or rather, you're only getting half the story. Cucumbers produce male and female flowers separately on the same plant, and the male flowers always show up first, sometimes by a week or two. So you get this exciting flush of blooms, and then nothing sets. It seems very discouraging, and sometimes when the female flower finally arrives, there aren't any males left to pollinate them, especially if you only have one cucumber plant. The female flower is easy to spot once you know what to look for. It has a tiny proto-cucumber at its base before it even opens. If no bee visits that flower after visiting a male, no cucumber. So if you're seeing flowers but no fruit, look closer at what kind of flowers they are and make sure pollinators can get to them. And having a few plants will definitely help ensure pollination. If you don't have that many pollinators on them, you can use a small artist brush to gently pollinate them from one flower to the next, and that should improve your crop. On to the second question, which we have from Dennis via Facebook. Why does my compost pile always smell so terrible? When I buy compost from the store, it never smells like that. Well, Dennis, it's because your compost is suffocating. A healthy compost pile doesn't smell like rot, it smells like earth, as you've noticed with your store-bought counterpart. The foul smell means you've tipped the balance too far toward wet, dense green material with no air getting in. Anaerobic bacteria have taken over, and they produce gases that make it reek. Fortunately, the fix is very simple. Turn it regularly, add dry brown material like straw or shredded cardboard, and give it some air. You're not composting wrong, you're just composting without oxygen. Think of it less like a pile and more like a living thing that needs to breathe. Our next question is from Uzone5 on Reddit. I've been growing peppers for 3 seasons now. I tried them in different places, but they never seem to take off. Why do they stay small all season no matter what I do? Peppers are playing a long game that most gardeners don't know about. They're one of the few vegetables that genuinely sulk in cold soil. And cold means anything under about 60 degrees at the root zone, even if the air is warm. If your soil hasn't caught up yet, the plant just sits there looking stubborn. It's not dead, it's not diseased, it's waiting. And gardeners who transplant their peppers 2 weeks later than everyone else usually end up with bigger plants by August because those plants never had their growth stalled by cold roots. Patience with peppers is not a virtue, it's a strategy. So move them outside when the ground is warm enough. Next, we have Carla from Concord via YouTube. She writes, why do my raised beds dry out so much faster than the ground? Well, Carla, raised beds are essentially above the water table and exposed to air on multiple sides, so they lose moisture dramatically faster than in ground planting. But the bigger issue usually is what's in them. A lot of raised bed mixes are very peat or coir heavy, which holds moisture well when wet but becomes almost hydrophobic when it dries out completely. Water just runs through it without being absorbed. The fix is adding compost regularly to improve your water retention, and consider a layer of mulch on top to slow evaporation. A drip system could help, but the soil composition is the real lever. Here we have Paula Lewiston from Facebook. I've been dying to get a good crop of garlic, but every season my garlic bulbs come out tiny, even when the tops look healthy. Why? What am I doing wrong? The short answer is because the tops and the bottoms aren't on the same schedule, and most people harvest too late. Once the lower leaves start browning, the clock is ticking. Each brown leaf represents a wrapper layer on the bulb. Let too many die off and your bulb loses its protective papery skin and just won't store well. But the more common mistake is waiting until the plant looks like it's completely spent. The sweet spot is when you have about half green leaves and half brown. That's when the bulb is fully sized and still well wrapped. Yeah, a healthy top doesn't mean the bulb is growing. It means you haven't missed the window yet, so good luck. Now we have First Garden CT, I'm guessing Connecticut, via Reddit. Why do I keep losing plants right after I buy them from the nursery? Well, you First Garden, it's mainly because nursery plants are essentially living in an artificial bubble. I mean, I don't know how you treat them once you bring them home, but you need to understand that they've been grown in perfect conditions. Controlled temperature, precise watering, ideal light, and then you bring them home and put them straight into the ground in a different environment. And the plant goes into shock because your garden, it's not that it's bad, but it's because a transition is too abrupt. The fix is simply hardening off the plant before you put it into your garden, starting with an hour of indirect light and working it up from there. It feels unnecessarily slow, I get it, but the difference between a plant that thrives and one that kind of gives up is hardening it off. Brixton Backyard on YouTube. Why do my herbs bolt so fast in the summer? It seems like I just planted them and suddenly they are useless. Well, to a plant, especially some herbs, their whole life is trying to reproduce before they die, and the heat is their signal that time is running out. So bolting, when a plant shoots up flower stalk and goes to seed, is not a failure of your gardening per se. It's the plant doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. The trick is understanding that once it bolts, the flavor changes, particularly in basil and cilantro, which turn bitter. You can slow it down by keeping the plant trimmed aggressively, never letting it flower, which fools it into thinking it hasn't reproduced yet. But you can't stop it forever. Plant in succession, a new round every few weeks, so you always have young plants coming up as the older ones bolt. That's my best advice. Oh, and keep an eye on them. The best thing in your garden that you can have is a gardener's shadow. Now we have Roland Beaupre from Keene, New Hampshire via Facebook. Roland asks, why does my soil look dark and rich, but my plants still struggle? Because color is not a reliable indicator of soil health, Roland. Biology is. Dark soil looks good, but it tells you nothing about whether the microbial life, drainage, pH, or nutrient availability are actually right for your plants. A lot of dark soils are actually compacted, poorly drained, or so high in nutrients that they're blocking the uptake of another. And the only way to actually know what your soil is doing is to test it, which tells you everything. Most gardeners never do one and spend years throwing amendments at a problem they've never diagnosed. It's like taking medicine without knowing what's wrong. Seed Tray at Reddit. This is a long one, so I'm going to cut to the chase on this one. Why do my seeds germinate fine but then suddenly collapse and die right at the soil line? This one has a name that sounds kind of off-putting. It's called damping off. And it's pretty devastating to watch because the seedling looks perfectly healthy one day and is just gone the next. It's a fungal condition, but the fungus isn't the real problem. The conditions you created are. It almost always comes from too much moisture sitting around the stem with not enough air circulation. The soil surface stays perpetually damp and the fungus moves in and attacks the stem right where it meets the soil. The fix isn't a fungicide, it's a small fan running on low near the seedlings, watering from the bottom instead of the top and letting the soil surface dry out slightly between waterings. The seedling can handle dry air. It cannot handle wet feet or stagnant conditions. So now we have Marietta from YouTube. And she writes, "Why do my plants always look worse after I fertilize them? Should I water more?" Well, that is a good question, Marietta, and it does happen. Well, it's happening because more is not more in the garden. It's often less. When you over-fertilize, the concentration of salts in the soil actually pulls moisture through the roots, out of the roots through osmosis, essentially dehydrating the plant from the inside out. It's called fertilizer burn, but it has nothing to do with heat. The plant isn't being burned so much as it's being drained, and the fix isn't more water for the plants, it's more about flushing the soil thoroughly to get the salts out. And going forward, half the dose of your fertilizer. Those labels are written to sell fertilizer, not to protect your plants. Okay, well, that's going to do it for today's Q&A. If your question didn't make it in this time, keep coming in the comments. I'm already collecting for the next one. If any of this helped you out, please hit the like button. It genuinely makes a difference for the channel. Subscribe if you're not already. And until next time, whatever you're growing this season, grow it well.